Oh, yeah. It gets me horny, baby. That music. Oh.
Here we go. Well, sorry, I was whistling along.
Yeah.
I wasn't even getting into it like I usually do. I was too busy singing. Here we go. This is The Wild Times, the most entertaining podcast on your computer that is bringing you all the latest wildlife and edutainment information.
Edutainment.
Right? That's a big word
That's
nowadays.
a new word, yeah.
It's a big word in our industry. I'm your host, Forrest Galante, the broologist. On my right, Papa P, the producer, and the brofessor on the far end there. How you doing, guys?
I'm going to speak for Peter.
Okay.
Because he's
For the whole pod or just now?
No, just right now.
Okay.
So Peter's struggling with something. Now his insides are fixed.
The herpes is still there, but that's old
Sure.
news.
Yeah.
So we decided to take our kids to this a new play gym.
Okay.
And I've been to this one. He has not.
Okay.
And he was supposed to tell me when he left his house I was going to meet him there. Instead, he told me when he got to the place.
That's not part of the story.
It is. It's important.
Nonsense.
It's important. He says, pulling up. I'm like, cool. See you in 20 minutes.
Right.
So there's a known entity at this play gym of a giant pink slide that is ladder, like basically full vertical.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one does it. I've seen 2 or 3 people try it, all get injured.
You go down the slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's insanely unsafe.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Have you seen Christmas Vacation, the movie?
Of course.
You know when Clark greases up the bottom of like the garbage can
I know
lid?
exactly where you're going. Yeah.
That's the outcome of this slide.
Gotcha.
Unbeknownst
I got it.
to me, though.
Yep.
So, and it's just known that you can't go down this thing or you will get hurt. So by the time I arrive, Peter's already injured because he took his 2-year-old down the dangerous slide.
Yeah.
And this was a week ago.
Yeah.
And you think you have nerve damage.
Well, so yes. First of all, my 2-year-old's safe. He was okay. I protected him with my body.
As you should.
Yes. And what happened to me is it lifted up my shirt on the back, and you're going so fast down this slide that it just gave me a burn.
Oh, the
like
skin?
I could show you this burn a week later. And I was like, oh yeah, trying to be cool. I was like, I'm fine. It's no big deal. Yeah. And then literally, it's like numb now, as if there's no feeling in this little patch. Like it shrunk down. It was this big, but now it's like this patch of skin right here on my back that's just completely numb.
Okay.
And things stick to it.
Oh,
my
no.
shirt just keeps sticking to it. And I'm just like, who puts a slide like this into a children's fucking place?
It's truly insane.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna give Kyle there's got to be a video of this on YouTube
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to see this.
It
This
would
is
be
hilarious.
the equivalent of if you opened a kid's gym and you were like, oh, in here is the wall of nails.
What's the name of the park? Dude, and so, he was just explaining that he wasn't there yet to warn me. And I'm like at a kid's place. I think this is fine. And then after I do this, I start actually like looking at the slide because I'm like, this is unsafe. Like, this is crazy. And I see kids walk up to the edge of the slide and then just like get nervous and walk away and go like, this is after they've climbed through this whole maze thing to get there. They just turn around and go back. They won't do it.
I have a game. Can we play a game early?
Yeah,
This
early
inspired me. Now, Kyle, look at Kyle's finger ready for the jingle. You don't know what game this is. Calm down.
His finger's twitching.
He's like,
Finger
what's he
jingle.
going to say? All right, here's the game. We definitely don't have a jingle for this.
It's a new game.
The other day, my buddy and I were working out, and we came up with a non-PC or non-2024 appropriate business. Okay? So while I explain mine,
Okay.
you guys are going to come up with your own. We're all going to pitch to the brosners, okay? And they're going to tell us whose business is the best.
Or is it whose is the most offensive?
Hey, take your pick, whatever.
I think
Or both.
the best-selling idea for like 1996.
No,
Right.
so you can have as much fun with this as you like, but let me give you mine while you craft yours, okay?
Okay.
All right, we came up with the idea for a gym called Toxic Masculinity, okay? It's a gym, it's all bros. Working there is like, imagine Hooters girls, right? So everyone, I'm telling you, it's non-PC, it's not very 2024 appropriate. But as you walk in, you're greeted by like a Hooters girl with a giant fake rack. Okay, it's all bros. There's heavy metal on. There's a smelling salts bar as you check in, so you help yourself to smelling salts. It's all very aggressive. It's It's all very loud. Guys can wear the shortest of shorts, the stringerest of shirts,
Yeah.
or no shirt, whatever you like.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's no... What we have to deal with in today's gym society is etiquette, right? Like, can't make eye contact with the cute girl in the way too tight pants and this, that, and the other.
This
None
is
of
why
that.
I work out at home. F that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. So we start this toxic masculinity gym. We got really carried away about the whole like steroids in the side. And the guy,
you got a nice steroid booth.
Yeah, there's a
over there.
steroid booth. There's
Sweet.
a smelling salts booth.
The smelling salts booth is legit.
Well, we said that, yeah. And then you can get nice, it's super high protein smoothies. So like, it's just all these ridiculous.
Like you have to use a spoon to eat it.
Yeah,
It's
like
some
all
good
these
ideas
all
here.
these ridiculous
Yeah.
protein things.
Yeah.
Like, but it's all just super masculine,
Dude,
like
also-
over the top.
Also,
Yeah.
like if you show your like Fitbit or whatever and you burned 500 cals, you're eligible to take a treat from the Zin bin.
Yeah, oh,
The
100%.
Zin bin,
you're
genius.
This is what it's all about. You got
I
all
like
these
it.
things, posters on the wall.
Minus the Hooters girls things, I think this could work in 2024, which makes me want to say that it's a bad idea for your game. That's all I'm saying.
But you got to still keep the title Toxic Masculinity. That's the name of the gym.
Right,
That's
all right.
important.
Okay,
And we
okay.
had the whole idea of, you know those places where you crack peanuts, you throw the peanuts on the floor?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
just
yeah.
steroid needles on the floor. You just got to
Wow.
wade them through.
Just got to step over it.
Yeah.
Some,
step
the
over.
janitors there like just filing
No,
down
but there's
the
like
sharp
there's
tips.
chalk everywhere. There's cigars and whiskey if you want.
You
Like,
just
it's
made a place that women would not want to go ever.
No, women are like just not welcome here. It's just
but you
toxic
don't say it out
masculinity.
loud. It's just no.
Well, you say it in the title of the gym, toxic masculinity.
true.
They're
but-
allowed.
They're allowed.
to be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
They
course.
just don't want to
and there always would be. Let's be honest. But that's the business idea.
Of course.
Okay.
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I would start a company that everybody likes peanuts, right? Except for, peanuts aren't allowed anywhere. So I would make, instead of like a lemonade booth, I'm gonna have like a peanut booth that serves all kind of nuts, peanut jams.
Is this in front of a
jellies,
school? In front
and-
of a preschool?
And it's going to
It's just
be
called tree nuts.
exclusively. These are going to be like in front of schools and in front of airports, and because they're not allowed on planes either. And I will call this Nuts on Kids.
You just won.
Yeah, Nuts on Kids is really good.
I don't know what the margins are on nuts these days. I don't know.
It's
how
got to be big,
profitable
dude.
it's gonna be.
You ever buy nuts at like Trader Joe's? It's like $6 for half an ounce.
But
It's
I like
outrageous
because it's just a middle finger to the one kid in every school that's made it so that no one can have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
That's right.
Yeah.
sun butter.
I
Sun
think it
butter
has
only.
it's potential for positive traction on this because a lot of people get angry about this.
Yeah.
There's only like 1% of people who like are like, no, yeah, you can't have nuts.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like it. Nuts on Kids, toxic masculinity.
All right, so mine's going to be a sports bar. It's called Pullin' Trig. and basically, it's set up for guys like me
Okay.
who used to go to a sports bar minimum once a week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Watch sports. But now, I don't get out as much.
Right.
I have kids.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a weekend day away.
That's for sure.
So this is really for the like New Year's Eve crowd of sports bars, right?
Okay,
Like
okay.
you're a fucking amateur. So you go there. First of all, there's TVs everywhere, but also you can bring your board shorts.
Okay.
There's like 6 or 8 little hot tubs.
Okay.
No
Cold
dress
tubs.
code.
You can just kind of sit in tubs and watch games. Food is brought to you. You order the incredibly unhealthy food, the hallmark of sports bars.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course. A lot of mozzarella
Wings.
sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mott sticks fried. Everything's fried.
Every 20 minutes, a little ding ding goes off, and everyone has to chug the rest of their drink. And it's just like a known thing, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of high fiving.
Sure.
But it's called pull and trig because you want to make the most out of your day.
Yeah.
So you're going to eat
always.
way too much. You're chugging, and then there's just a big puke trough that's available
Just pull
for
the
if you need to
trigger.
go up and pull the trigger.
Wow.
So that you can get another platter of wings.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like
Oh,
that
man.
though.
Stinks. It
Oh,
stinks
it's
in
gotta
there.
stink. Yeah. It's not
Wow.
gonna smell
Yeah.
good.
I'm
That's
kind
it.
of, but I don't know why I'm cheering it because it sounds kind of awful. Like I'd probably leave after the first ding, chug your beer.
So it's just made for you to just keep going.
Keep
all
going.
night,
That's
drink,
the
whole
whole thing.
eat. Yeah.
You got one
be
night a
gluttonous.
year to go do this.
Yeah,
Make the
because
most of
normally they're like, I think you've had a little too much, sir. They're like, I don't think you've had enough,
It's
sir.
the opposite. They're trying not to
They're
cut
like,
you
sir,
off.
how many times have you pulled trig?
All right. Well, I'm curious for the Brosners to let us know what which of these three businesses would you go to?
Yeah, and also, if you have a better idea, I'd love to hear it. I want to read through the comments of this.
There's got to be some good non-PC business ideas out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nuts on kids. It sounds promising.
It sounds promising.
Tampons and fans.
Hey, Cal, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What's in the news? About 2 months into the Pod 4 Ultra from 8 Sleep.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Best sleep I've ever gotten. I used to get so excited to leave the house to go sleep in a hotel room with no kids, no dog, no wife, nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my! It's like the opposite. I sleep better at home with the kids climbing on me now with the Pod 4 Ultra.
Dude, you cannot beat the temperature control. You're hot. You get into a nice cool bed. You're cold. You get into a nice warm bed. It is amazing, honestly.
There's a reason that like athletes and businessmen and Mark Zuckerberg and all these people are using this thing. It's a game changer.
It really is. It's a great investment, especially if you're like me and suck at sleeping.
Yeah.
Which is weird because babies can sleep. I can't.
Not you.
But
Not
no,
you.
it really is a game changer. Head to 8sleep.com/wildtimes and use the code WILDTIMES to get $350 off Pod 4 Ultra. Currently ships to the US, Canada, UK, Europe, and Australia.
You are quite a big baby.
Can I ask you guys a question?
No.
It's 102 degrees out on my car thermometer when I drove
Sure
in here.
is.
I'm the only one wearing shorts. What were you thinking?
I want comfort, baby. I got my doers on.
We're doers, baby.
Both of you are endures?
That's right.
Yes, these are the pants that I wear.
That
Dude,
makes
my
sense.
legs don't sweat in these bad boys.
Look,
It's like they breathe on their own.
Camera on a podcast. I'm not going to wear shorts like an unprofessional jerk. I'm wearing my doers.
Wow.
Good point.
They're made from plant-based fabrics. They're breathable.
Yeah.
They're soft. They're moisture absorbent.
You're not too hot. That's
Why
what you're
aren't
saying.
you wearing yours? No, I'm not too hot.
Now I feel stupid.
No,
So-
honestly,
Showing
dude.
off those chicken legs. Come on, bro.
I got a whole new body. I've been working out. The doers look good on me. That's all I'll say.
Well, guess what, Forrest? Because apparently you lost yours. Right now, our listeners can get 20% off their first order when you use our exclusive URL, shopduer.com/wild. This is an amazing deal. Don't wait. Go now. Get 20% off at shopduer.com/wild.
Woo! Look at that trigger finger.
He is getting fast.
News from the underground.
All right. So,
Okay.
little title here. Secret of why Greenland sharks live so incredibly long has finally been revealed.
Finally revealed.
Why do you think that is, guys?
Well, they're in very cold waters.
Yep.
So that I think helps sort of preserve tissue. I'm just guessing. They're slow, right?
They are very slow.
They have a very slow metabolism.
Correct.
So they're not digesting themselves from the insides like we are.
Right.
I don't
Correct.
know. I'm just throwing ideas out.
Yeah. No, I was going to
I have
say.
not read it.
My first of all, these creatures like are the most fascinating to me because I always think about like imagine a creature that was here like before the Civil War, like 500 years ago.
trees.
It's just
Oh,
crazy.
you mean individuals?
No,
Sorry. Yeah.
Either way, though, like that also fascinates me. But like this thing has been alive for this long.
That something living today might have swum by Christopher Columbus's ship.
Yep,
Exactly.
totally.
Yeah.
But I would say I agree. I think the metabolism thing and not having to expend so much energy digesting food.
So you're both on the right track, and it is about metabolism. But the thing is, a recent study found that no change in enzyme activity in sharks between the ages of 60 and 200 years. So the enzymes within their body were not changing, meaning that their metabolism just stayed stable.
Yeah.
So if you think of us, you think of any other creature living, as you get older, your metabolism slows down, means you can't process food as well. It means your nutrients are not going into your system as easily, right? And I'm sure there's a whole lot of other physiological things that I don't understand. But what they found in these Greenland sharks is because they are living in these cold environments and they're slow moving and blah, 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 nothing was changing within them from basically age 60 to age 200.
Yeah.
So they were just in a constant sort of state of equilibrium without aging, more or less, and then continued to age. So
It's wild, man.
pretty fascinating thing because, you know, we know things that move slowly and live down deep and are cold live longer, but this is like the why behind it.
It's almost like the body doesn't it doesn't shed off and regenerate cells and things. It does it very slowly. Like whereas we regenerate even all our skin cells every 7 years, it's like a whole new skin body.
Exactly.
And we're constantly making new cells, losing cells. It's like they don't.
Yep.
They just float around with the same.
They just stay in like a state of stasis as far as changing.
And they
enzymes
only
go.
eat like what? They eat like even less than alligators and crocodiles, I'm assuming.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think they're pretty opportunistic. I think they eat whenever they can, but they can certainly go pretty long periods of time without food.
Yeah. It's just wild.
500 years is what they say is how long they can live.
Right. But so for the basically
long
all of their
time,
adult
Jesus.
life, it's as if you turned 30 and then from 30 to age 60, nothing changed.
Right.
And then you continued to age at age 60, basically.
Right, but I'm
Interesting,
only
yeah.
30, so I get that extra bump.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. That's basically the way that it's been described. So pretty cool.
How can we harness this?
Good
Dude,
question.
I actually was,
Ozempic, right? Doesn't
Yeah,
that stop you eating?
I was
Yeah.
thinking about that. That's a really cool video that Kyle just brought up. I was thinking about that when you just kind of blurted out. You said like, your body stops processing things. It's harder to digest food. It's hard to eat. Like if you go from a 30-year-old who's just eating any of the shit that you want and you keep doing that to 40, 50, then yeah. Like
Then you die young.
You're going to age faster.
Yeah.
But if you taper off how much you eat, like that's why fasting, I think, is a big thing. Like I think it like that kind of thing keeps you younger.
Oh, there's so much new, and I'm not that dialed into all this fitness stuff, but there's so much new and interesting science about fasting and specifically going to bed on an empty stomach because that's what creates HGH, right? Human growth hormone in your system, which keeps you younger. If you're a male, gives you higher testosterone, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it has just been attributed to not eating.
Dude, that's fascinating because I've been in a health kick, whatever, but
Big time.
I stopped eating after 9 basically. And it's a huge thing. It took me 2 months to like be able to consistently do it. But whenever I fuck up and do it, like even if I eat just an apple or something, like I wake up groggy. If I don't eat anything past 9, like I wake up and I'm like, like everything's good.
interesting.
And I feel light. If I eat just even something healthy, it doesn't matter. And small calories, if I do it after 9, I wake up and like my stomach feels full and I'm just like uncomfortable and groggy. And I just noticed that. I was like, that's a very big like difference to how I've always been because I've always eaten like shit after 9 p.m.
It's so funny how for me, it's a big balance. Like because I Tuesday, Thursdays, like tonight I'll go to rugby after this. I'll drive up to Santa Barbara, go to rugby.
Yeah.
If I don't eat during the day, I play my best game of rugby by far. But if I leave that too long, like if I have like a medium breakfast, some decent protein, and then don't eat the rest of the day, I play really well in the evening.
Yeah.
But if I miss that or if I don't do it quite right, then I have no energy. So it's like a real delicate balance where it's like I have to eat a little bit at some point to feel good. But then if I eat too much, like if I ate a big meal now and went to rugby, I'd be terrible. Like I'd be super slow and groggy. It's such a balance.
I got
with
some.
metabolism.
You might like it. I think you'll like this for sure. Because you're fucking on your own program with this fitness thing, doing heavy squats at 8 a.m.
Every day, baby.
So I got a vacation coming up Labor Day.
Okay.
Big group trip, going with 5 families.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where to?
Going to Scottsdale.
Oh, that's right.
Staying in a nice resort.
Yeah.
It's going to be all pool time, baby. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get my ass in shape so I don't have to go down the water slide with my shirt on.
So you don't get stuck on it.
Yeah. So, cut out weeknight booze. That's already made a big change.
Yep.
But so I'm on this new breakfast kick.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, I feel like I have way more energy throughout the entire day.
What are you doing
what is
for
it?
I'm
breakfast?
starting because I've usually I just miss breakfast and then like eat lunch at like 2, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I get up, do my shit, whatever. I make a protein shake,
Mm-hmm.
put some granola in a bowl, pour the shake over it, like the milk,
Delicious sounding.
and just hit that, get the carbs and the protein.
There you go.
I'm good until dinner time.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's
I think
so
that's great.
Excellent.
human beings like, okay, so the Greenland shark is lucky because it doesn't have to deal with this. It's just done automatically by nature. For us, like we don't get anything given. We have to figure out everything with because our big brains are supposedly our asset. So we have to figure out how to do these little tips and tricks. Don't eat
That's
at night.
interesting, yeah.
Eat in the morning,
Yeah.
to feel better throughout the day.
Yep.
It's like you don't know this. It's not natural. You have to either do it and experience it or read it and learn it and be able to do it.
I wonder why evolution chose that skill or that biomechanic for the Greenland shark.
Yeah, right.
Maybe because of where they live, there's less of them, so they have to live longer to pass the DNA on?
Probably. I think that would make sense. It's just slow. Everything it does is slow. If Kyle, if you look up what age are Greenland sharks reproductively viable, or can they reproduce is a smarter way to say that.
I'd like to see one have sex. I don't know about you guys.
But my guess is, they can't even breed until, wow, that doesn't sound right.
150. Dude, I'm telling you this Google AI bullshit.
Yeah, there you go. No,
so what does it say?
Here. It says that
that's National Geographic is the source there.
Yeah, so it says.
Hey, it's right.
So it says that Greenland sharks cannot do not reach reproductive age until around 150 years old.
That's crazy.
So if you're not reaching reproductive capabilities until 150 years old, you have to be slow and you have to have a long lifespan.
Right.
So basically, just think of same thing we see with like tortoises and some of these other slow animals. Everything they do is at half speed. You know what I mean? And it's like the opposite of a housefly, right? Or a bumblebee or something that can live 24 hours.
Right.
Everything they do is like, wake up, feed, eat, fuck, go to bed, die. Like, that's it. Like, their whole life is in a day, And this is like the polar opposite of that. It's like everything takes a long time, and we're somewhere in the middle with a 100-year lifespan.
See, that's kind of the interesting thing about humans, right? Is that like our bodies didn't evolve to want to stay sexually attractive until you're in your 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
like
true.
we were done, right?
Yeah.
Like we mate, we evolved to mate at
20,
16, 17,
16,
18,
Yep.
19, 20 years old versus like, waiting till you're 40 to have kids,
Right.
and then also wanting to be healthy and enjoy a life into your 70s and 80s.
Right.
That our evolution didn't choose that for our bodies. That's why we're constantly trying to biohack it.
We're fighting it.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
And
Right.
keep in mind, like our lifespans until very recently, we died in our 50s.
So I've read that that's not, but it's not like exactly accurate. I was reading that basically the stats on that are skewed,
of course,
because of like the amount of
fatalities,
babies who died.
Yeah.
And it's like the actual median level of that is we've always really lived to like this 60, 70-year-old mark. Maybe not like 2,000 years ago, but for a long time. And it's just that the average has been skewed because
how long
it's weighed by the
just
babies.
Google how long did Neanderthal lifespan?
Oh, come on. Neanderthals is like millions.
But that's our evolution. I mean, that's part of our
the foundation of our evolution.
Okay, let's see.
25 to 40 years.
Okay.
Still probably skewed. 85% have died by age 40.
Yeah,
so 85% of Neanderthals died by age 40.
Right. They're dying early. But it's like, are you dying because you're not allowed to live your natural life, most likely, for most of that 80%? You're getting killed, you're getting infection, you're getting disease, you're dying from childbirth.
That's us fighting it. That's the whole point.
True.
What Patrick was pointing out is we're fighting that, right? We would also all be dead in our 50s or 60s or whatever. Call it 70s, call it whatever you like.
Yeah.
But now we have all this modern medicine. Now we have all this research on longevity, blah, blah, blah. I remember when I was a kid, I distinctly remember this. There was like some stat or some news headline that came out that said basically everybody born in the 90s was going to live to be over 100. Do you remember that?
Reading that stuff.
You remember that?
I've heard shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh wow, we're I was born in the 80s, so I was like, oh, not quite, but see, everybody below me is going to be over 100. You're not all going to live to fucking bullshit. In fact, I think we're dying younger than ever now.
Well, it takes a really long time to make those strides, but I mean, we really are fighting against. Humans are fighting against death with just medicine alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you're keeping people alive. Like, I don't even know if I want to be kept alive after I'm like 80. If it's going to be like difficult
just
to keep
quality
me
of life. It's just quality of life.
I don't think that's going to be an issue for you.
F off.
All right.
Yeah, I guess so.
Go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was going to say, I've read studies or maybe articles that said that the first person to live infinitely has already been born.
What?
With
because
modern medicine and
that's a nonsensical TikTok headline. Are you kidding me?
I mean that. There's no carbon-based life form that will live infinitely.
But what you're saying is they're going to download their consciousness into some supercomputer, and then something.
No,
I
think it's like a biological thing.
Interesting.
Like I don't know if infinite is the right word, but a very long time.
But it's out there. These headlines are there.
If it's anyone, it's Elon Musk, and he hasn't announced it yet, and he's very outspoken.
Dude,
doesn't look great shirtless.
No.
Oh
no.
boy. I did just
there.
want to get one more thing in on my weird everyman weird perspective. But since we're talking about this, like meditation and whatnot, when you come to like humans and like slowing down your mind, Like, dude, my mind is always so freaking busy. Like, I feel like that is really like reduces your lifespan because it just gets out of control the older you get. There's so many things. There's bills now. There's kids. I got to get up. It's like this. It's that. Back when I was like a teenager, I didn't give a shit
about
I just
anything.
Slept till like 1 p.m. and didn't worry about it. Now, if I slayed in bed till 1 p.m., I'd be freaking out for a week about what I didn't do.
About catching up.
You know?
All right. Well, we're on this health kick. This is after all a health and wellness podcast.
Sure is.
What are your feelings on saunas? You two.
They're torture for me, but I do feel I went to my buddy's. He has a sauna and a cold plunge, and he made me do it.
Nice.
And I just fought through the urge to get out of that thing. He wanted to do like 20 minutes, and then did an instant, cold plunge in and out.
Yep.
Felt incredible.
I'm a big fan.
I'm sure they're really good for you.
I love them.
They do say all the stuff about them increasing your lifespan while we're talking all about that. I'll tell you what they're definitely doing.
What?
They're definitely increasing the lifespan of some frogs. Email alert. Moments ago, Kyle's going to put it on screen here. Negotiation success. We saved you $192.72 on your SiriusXM bill.
Let me guess.
What?
Rocket Money.
Rocket Money.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had Sirius.
Dude.
It came with the Jeep. It auto-billed me.
Yes.
It started auto-billing me, this jerk. Then I saw it, this jerk of SiriusXM who's now never going to advertise with us. Then I saw it, put it Rocket Money to work. Look at that email I just got.
Dude, I'm telling you, I got my mom's cable subscription bill down with this thing. I got my ADT subscription bill down and one other one. It just sends you notifications to save you money. It's honestly amazing.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. That's a good thing.
It's a really good thing.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/wildtimes. That's rocketmoney.com/wildtimes.
rocketmoney.com/wildtimes.
Wait, so me and Kyle played in the Wild Times Listener Fantasy Football League last year. Is it? I have not seen the invitation yet, Kyle. Is it happening?
I do not know. I've been looking forward to it. No news yet, but if it doesn't happen, I'm excited to play Prize Picks every week.
Oh, dude, this season, let me let everyone in on something here. This season, you can pick more or less on 2024 season stats on Prize Picks, right? Wow. So it's like, will Patrick Mahomes throw for more or less than 4,300 yards? So it's pretty fun because you can have some fun stuff to root for that's season long, which is a huge bonus. For those of you who haven't tried Prize Picks, it is the easiest way to have fun, enhance your football watching. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks, which means, you can turn $10 into $1,000. So I'm having fun with some season stats. Obviously, I'm going to be heavily involved every single Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night. It is a lot of fun, but we also have, we're bringing you some value here. So if you download the Prize Picks app today, use the code WILD for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code WILD on Prize Picks for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game.
What?
Okay.
So I think we've talked about chytrid fungus before on this podcast. So chytrid fungus is a fungus that's it's a deadly fungal disease actually that's spread amongst most amphibians globally. It was invented, at least we think, in a lab with African clawed frogs while figuring out birth tests, because they used to use African clawed frogs for that. All of a sudden, this chytrid fungus popped up, spread globally. It's wiped out, maybe Kyle can figure this out, the number, but it's wiped out like 80% of amphibians globally.
What?
Or something. That's not that high, but it's massively high.
When did they think it was
50?
developed in a lab?
It's one of the theories. It's one of the theories that it came from that. Nobody really knows.
And nobody would ever admit to that, so we'll never know for real.
So they used to, 90 species of frog have gone extinct in the wild from chytrid fungus.
Dude, since like when was this?
Sorry, wait. Was that 501 amphibians are in decline? 501 amphibian species are in decline. 90 have gone extinct. Anyway, one of the theories is, so I think we talked about this. African clawed frogs used to be used as pregnancy tests because they'd change from blah, blah, blah. And they think that the chytrid fungus came from testing with them or from importing them. Not necessarily it was made in a lab like a COVID thing.
Sure.
But more like
sprung up from what they were doing.
That's what they believe. That's one of the well thought out beliefs. But nobody really knows where chytrid fungus came from. Regardless, published in Nature recently from the University of Melbourne, they found out that there is hope against chytrid fungus for the green and golden bell frogs, which have been severely impacted in Australia by creating artificial hotspot shelters, or basically little tiny saunas, hot, humid areas that they would build out of bricks and little tiny PVC greenhouses, where the frogs would actually, when they had chytrid fungus, because they feel ill, right?
Yeah.
They'd hop into these little greenhouses, these little saunas, and it would boost their metabolism and knock out the chytrid fungus.
Oh, wow.
And it would act like a little spa for these frogs. And they'd sort of, here's a picture of the
dude,
ones
look
they
at this
built.
picture.
Yeah. And it
Frog saunas.
I don't know if it knocked it out completely or just slowed it down a whole lot, but it created a lot of hope for something that, like I've been speaking with like Colossal, because I've been like, can't you guys use your incredible technology to beat chytrid fungus? Like all these people are trying to figure out how to beat it because it's such a devastating thing for amphibians globally.
Yeah.
And by the way, something a lot of people don't understand, like, oh, who cares if the frogs go away? The frogs
I
go
do.
away, all the mosquitoes come in, and there's a million other things. Like it's a big chain reaction if we lose all our amphibians. So anyway, it's pretty cool that this sort of simple solution.
So they go into these saunas, and it basically does it kill the fungus off of them, or it just boosts their like immune system?
I think it actually kills the fungus, because the fungus it doesn't thrive in warm environments. I remember reading that. Like it specifically affected colder environments, amphibians.
It's not a bad deal, dude. You just got to go get yourself a nice little spa day to get rid of this disease.
It's pretty interesting though, because it's such a simple rudimentary thing to just make a little hollowed out kind of hot area for these animals, and they just hop in there. And
it basically looks like a concrete block with holes in it and a bunch of frogs with their heads sticking out.
Yeah, it's adorable.
What is
cute.
heating that thing?
I think just the sun and the water.
It's just the environment.
Because, you put concrete in the sun and it heats up much more than a piece of wood or a bit of dirt.
Right.
And it looks like something that can be like scaled large to
very
save species
scalable.
of frogs if they want to use this for some other species.
Yeah, so it says here, the method not only reduces infection rates significantly, but also boosts frogs' immunity to chytrid, potentially saving populations from complete collapse.
Oh, dude, and then it probably builds their immune system so that genetically they over the generations it probably build up immunity to this fungus.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it could even make them adapted for warmer climates and all kinds of things. But it's just typically in nature. This is important. I mean, anybody that's in the reptile or amphibian keeping community knows this. If a lizard, a frog, a turtle, a snake gets sick, they go and lie in the sun. That's what they do. They take in sun warmth from the energy and try and like heal themselves.
Yeah.
But obviously the sun is not strong enough in a lot of these climates. So this is like an alternative. So the animals already know to go into the heat to try and heal themselves. But by creating these artificial saunas, it's basically allowing them to heal themselves.
Do you think that, so when they have this fungus, is it on their skin?
Yeah. So Kyle, type in chytrid fungus. It's that's not how you spell it. CHYTRYD, I think. TRID. Sorry.
Chytrid.
There's a much longer chytridiosis or whatever, but
that looks like a toe fungus he's brought up there, maybe an eyeball fungus.
I don't know what. There's mushrooms growing out of somebody's foot here.
There it is.
There you can kind of see it.
Brutal.
So it starts sort of peeling off their skin and growing this like velvety stuff on them.
That's brutal.
For the most part, it's not very detectable though to the human eye, is my understanding. But when it gets very extreme, they start to show.
Like
these
that
symptoms.
One's probably like a dead frog.
I don't really know. I mean,
but yeah.
I don't know that I've ever personally seen chytrid fungus, but I know this: if I ever catch frogs, which my son does about 1,000 per day, we always wash our hands. Like if we're in one creek, playing with frogs, then we got to sanitize, wash our hands if we're going to another creek, because you don't want to spread it around.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I haven't washed my hands today one time going to the bathroom. Pat,
You're just trying to piss me off.
I just want you guys to know that.
Just trying to piss me off. I get it.
From many podcasts ago. I remember these things.
I got a game for you.
Okay.
Oh, another game.
All right, so I was looking at comments. People love this game.
Okay.
We've done it a couple times.
Okay.
It's a short one. It's a fun one. You can play along at home in your car.
In your car.
The name of the game is, let me get the jingle for it, Kyle.
There's a jingle?
There is none.
Oh. Wait, can Kyle sing one?
I don't know.
What's the name of the game?
What?
What's the name of the game?
That was
Sing it.
terrible.
What were these dogs bred for?
Sing it, Kyle.
What were these dogs bred for?
Nice.
That's good.
Thanks.
Why couldn't Kyle do that?
I don't know. He's not an entertainer.
What were these dogs bred for? So I'm going to name a species of a dog. You say what? Try and really think about it.
Okay,
Yep,
I like
we'll
this
do.
game.
We'll
Yeah,
do. Yep.
I won't be jokey. I'll try and actually think about it.
What was a Dalmatian bred for?
I know the answer. Can I do it? 'Cause
I think I know the
answer.
answer, but you go first.
Because this will be the only one I get.
Fair enough.
So the Dalmatian was bred for firehouses back in the day to keep the horses that were dragging the fire, the fire thing before cars, to keep them on the road and from getting scared and going off the road.
Kyle is hysterically laughing.
Okay.
That's true.
I don't know why, because
So-
I thought that was also correct.
Are these recliners?
Wouldn't that be
Please
a
try.
dream?
Keep
Please
slipping
try
back.
until it falls.
Jesus.
Until you fall down.
All right, Forrest, what was the lovely black and white spotted Dalmatian bred for?
I believe it was bred to make exactly 99 coats for Cruella de Vil.
What?
Ah, that would explain it.
It's the saddest children's story in the freaking world.
Incorrect.
What about me? Was I correct?
You were correct, in fact, not specifically for
Okay, I was a little off.
firehouses,
Okay.
but they were bred as a carriage dog that were used to run along horse-drawn carriages to protect the horses and riders, as well as a decorative touch for the upper class.
By the way, before I made the 101 Dalmatians joke, I literally also just thought they were bred to be like firehouse companions.
They're also insane to keep. Like, if you have a Dalmatian, you have to spend many hours training it.
Dude,
They're
what
nuts.
happened today? I just had this conversation literally yesterday with somebody. What happened to all the Dalmatians? They
People
used to be
realize-
everywhere. You used to see them all
Yeah.
over. I don't think I've seen a Dalmatian in
There
3
was
years.
a huge explosion in the popularity after the movie
Sure.
that lasted for some time.
Well,
Yeah.
about as long as Dalmatians
so
last 20
huge
years.
surge in the breed, and they're, I think, as Peter said,
exactly.
they're notoriously fairly difficult. I don't believe they're specifically thought to be great with children, and they can be a little bitey.
Well, I've told you guys this before. And this is something that you've spoke to many times about getting dogs. These are dogs that need to be outside running.
Yeah.
And people put them in their house. And I actually had a friend who had just dug through its wall to get to the other room because they kept
was a
like,
Dalmatian?
in the kitchen. It dug through their wall completely.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's a working dog.
Yeah.
And yeah, you stick it in an apartment. If you look at dog bite statistics, Dalmatians, especially like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, used to always be near the top.
Oh, I didn't know that. My uncle had two. They were awesome. Beautiful. Can you just pull up a picture, Kyle? I just want to look at them. They're
So it's like a natural.
You're pretty
sorry.
spot on. Yeah, they get super popular after the movie, and then people kind of realized that they weren't very good pets.
But they suck.
Yeah.
But by the way, this is a good thing. This is the amount they should exist in the human population.
They're so beautiful, though.
They're so
Yeah.
good looking.
Yeah.
They also get a lot of like genetic illnesses. They go blind, they go deaf and
Oh,
shit.
shame. All right, next.
All right, next up.
Moving on.
Forrest, you're first this time. What was a Chihuahua bred for?
God, I have no idea. What do you got?
The Chihuahua was bred for Mexican, let's go Aztec royalty as an arm accessory.
Okay. Jewelry.
Jewelry.
The Chihuahua was bred.
Whoa.
What?
What happened with your throat there? That was a little- no.
No. Edit that out. That's awful.
I heard
Please leave it in.
There was a bubble. It sounded like you had a frog in your throat.
Sorry, I won't wash my hands after that either. I will say that the Chihuahua was bred to be the mascot for a very well-known Mexicali chain called Taco Bell.
Okay.
It's not a jokey answer. It's not. It's
It was-
true. I think it
okay.
was.
Look, I'm pretty much right.
Yeah. Bred for companionship and use in religious ceremonies. Their history is tied to ancient civilizations
See?
in Mexico.
I got it.
You got it. You got it. I'm proud of you.
Well, I knew they were from Mexico, and I didn't think that they could have possibly had a purpose. So
So they were bred potentially to have spiritual significance for the Mayans and Aztecs, and then Taco Bell took them and made the dog say "Yo quiero taco."
yeah,
quiero
made
Taco
it super
Bell.
gimmicky.
Live
Yeah.
Mas.
All right, Peter, you're up first. The
I don't-
Shar-Pei.
I don't know what a share P is.
It's the one that has a
pull
lot
one
of
up.
folds in its face.
I like Sharp.
The foldy skin.
Dude,
I think they're super cool.
okay, I have to actually think of. I mean,
Okay,
it's clearly
look
clearly
at how its
blind.
name. Look at how its name is spelled.
Shar-Pei. Okay, so I mean, come on. This animal was bred for. Okay, let me just look at it. I'm really trying to figure this out.
I'll go while he thinks about it.
Please do.
I'm going to guess that Shar-Pei sounds French to me.
Hmm.
Don't know if it is.
Okay.
Sounds French.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to guess that they were bred in France as a wolf hunting dog. And all of that excess skin is so that when they're bitten, it doesn't hit any vital organs.
So who's maybe the most famous Chinese architect?
Oh, I don't know.
Woo-wee?
Shar-Pei?
I am Pei.
Oh, okay. So they're Chinese.
I would think so.
So they're not French. Okay.
Okay,
But I like your answer about the wolves.
Yeah, that was a guess.
Jesus. I mean,
Pei makes a lot. Yeah.
they were bred with this loose skin so that when a really fat Chinese man would lose weight and have excess skin, he would have a companion that could go with him and draw away the ire of other people looking, because obviously that's way more disgusting than looking at a
It does.
human
So
skin.
keep that one up for a second. That is a living ball sack. Look at that dog. All right, let's see it.
I can't think of a single reason. Please tell me.
Originally bred for hunting and guarding.
What?
Known for their wrinkled skin, they were used for hunting wild boar.
Interesting.
So
By the way,
is it possible the wrinkled skin was just sort of an accident?
yeah, it doesn't
Exactly.
seem like it was bred for the wrinkled
And you
skin.
look at the wrinkled skin and you're like, okay, the wrinkled skin is the part they were bred for.
That's what I would have thought. Yeah,
but it's not. It's just an accident. Kyle, good
does
one.
it say
You
where they're
fooled us.
from? Are they Chinese?
Yes.
Do we know that they are Chinese? Okay.
How about the massive Great Dane?
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, simple answer here. This dog's a companion. It's loyal. It will kill something that comes near you. It has to be like a guard dog that would be able to go out like 100 yards and protect you from your.
Where do you think it was bred?
In Danish land.
in Danelandia. I like the idea of a Great Dane being bred as a war dog. Short life,
feel like
really large.
It's good call.
Like it was bred for war, like to send it out to patrol the front
Strategist.
lines.
Come back, like map out an area for you.
Okay.
Let's see if any of us were right.
It was bred for hunting large game, such as boar. Despite their gentle image today, they were once fierce hunting dogs taking down wild boars.
I believe it.
Where are they from?
Danish.
Well,
I would assume Denmark.
I mean, I would
is
think
that
so
what
too,
Denmark
but
is?
I'm curious if that's true.
I never have known what Dane was equated to. The language,
Germany.
Germany, of course.
Yep. Okay.
the pies.
Yeah, the I am Pei.
Listen, this is the vibe that I got from the dog. It's like it's got this gentle image today, but like I feel like some kind of greater war, like just hunting power if one was next to me.
Well, much like you, right?
Well, that's why
you
you bring
have a
me
gentle
around.
image, but there's a beast in there.
Not
waiting to
anymore.
be
It's
unleashed.
too. It was back in the day, but it's been beaten out of me.
You don't think you're capable of just snapping in a fury and just pounding someone?
Yeah, well, no. I would use weapons. I don't want to get hurt.
Fair enough. Kyle, you said you had some Brosner questions for us.
I do.
That you thought were worthy of. We said, are they worthy of being done in a public forum? And you said yes, absolutely.
Well, because we do this on the bonus pods all the time.
We do.
Yeah.
I also thought when he did it with, and let's remember something as we get into this. He did it with a very like snickery look on his face.
Yeah,
Did either of you catch that? It was very smug.
It was. He was chuckling.
And I
want to
point out that a couple weeks ago he was furious at Patrick, reason unknown. 2 weeks ago, hated you,
Yeah.
reasons unknown.
Yeah.
And then when he mentioned the Brosner questions, he looked at me like with a side eye that was like, "I'm gonna fucking ruin your life."
Oh boy.
So I'm not sure what's coming here.
There's nothing bad. These
Judy, there better be something bad after that hype.
No, these are fun. So
All right, what do we got?
this first one's from JCRD. Okay,
Great.
It just says, if you guys weren't doing your careers that you're doing now, what would you be doing or want to do?
Well, I mean, I can easily go.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I'd be rich, and I wouldn't have to do my career, so I'd just be hanging out on my couch with my kids
I
and my
don't
wife.
think that was the
I
spirit.
don't think being
of it.
rich and being
Oh.
handsome are on the docket.
All right. Well, yeah. No, that was my answer. So go on.
Oh well, you suck. I'll go. I think I'd be a vet. That was sort of, I always thought if I didn't work in wildlife, I still wanted to do something with animals. And so I'd just go to vet school and be a vet. And hopefully I'd become like one of those cool vets like João Almeida or one of those ones that I look up to that gets to travel and like dart lions and, fix snare wounds and all of that, which I guess is sort of close to what I'm doing now. But I'd like to have thought that if I hadn't gone the route of a biologist, I would have gone the route of a vet.
Like if you were never on Naked and Afraid and got up to your show on Extinct or Alive, imagine those two things didn't happen. You'd be a vet right now?
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting.
I say I think so, but I wasn't going to veterinary school.
Right.
But this is a hypothetical. If you could do anything outside of the
Sure.
career you're doing now, what would you do? I would have become a vet.
Homicide detective.
Wow,
Ooh, I
dude,
like
you'd be
that.
good at that, man.
I was very interested in trying to be some sort of detective or investigator. I applied for an internship at the CIA.
Oh,
when I was-
really?
Oh,
when I was in college
learning
and
some things.
did not get accepted to the program.
Oh,
You
I
probably
wonder.
drank too
I
much.
wonder had you been accepted if that would have totally altered the course of your life.
Oh, we wouldn't even know him.
I guarantee it would have. So it was back then, long time ago, you applied for the internship after your sophomore year.
Okay.
And it was a 2 summer thing.
Mm.
So you do,
Oh, it's a big deal. It
Yeah,
wasn't
so
just
you
like a
do-
weekend thing.
oh yeah, no. So you do your sophomore summer and your junior summer.
Hmm.
And so I applied my sophomore year and just received a very stoic, cold letter back saying, no thanks.
What do you think happened?
No idea.
You've never reflected on why you got denied to be in the CIA?
I remember being surprised.
Yeah, I would be too, because usually in college they just are like, well, let's at least try it for one summer and then.
Yeah, no, didn't get
Peter,
in.
do you want to revisit your answer of being rich and sitting on a couch?
Oh, sure. I mean, I was
Nude.
gonna say, all right, yeah, but I mean, honestly, I do what I love, so I wouldn't. I mean, I would be in some other tech career where I did like technical things because I like computers, maybe pirating. I'd be a coder, probably a developer, a programmer of some sort who created programs and was a very successful entrepreneur, making my own software as a service.
What's the job that you're the least cut out for? That you know about yourself, I could not do this job.
Lifeguard.
Accountant.
That's a good one.
Anything sitting and staring at numbers on a spreadsheet. I couldn't. I would ruin everybody's financials.
Yeah.
No question.
Teacher for me, I couldn't be a teacher.
Oh, I could be a teacher.
You could
I
definitely
like
be a
talking to
teacher.
kids. I like teaching.
I could
I have no
teach if I had
patience.
expertise on it, but I would have to be like a second grade teacher.
This is what's annoying.
My
This is what's
expertise.
annoying about you, Forrest. You think because you like going in front of a group of kids for 30 minutes and giving one talk and getting them really excited about animals means you could also deal with the paperwork, the grading the papers,
Oh.
the patience for kids who are just shitty.
I feel like he does do a
You
lot
think
of
you
that.
could do all that?
The paperwork part would not be good, but all the other stuff, I don't mind shitty kids. Like I coach rugby for a couple hours
All
a
right.
week,
Yeah,
you know,
you're right.
I get shitty kids there, but I kind of like beating up shitty kids, but they're like athletes with a good attitude. That's
Yeah,
different
yeah,
from a
yeah.
kid like hitting me with a spitball. I'd
You do a lot of
lose it and
fucking
break 'em.
bullshit. You fail at a lot of things. You write up a lot of things that don't go anywhere. You do a lot of bullshit legwork stuff all the time.
That's
what
true.
you do now.
That's true.
But you'd still be a horrible teacher.
I thought that was going to end with a compliment and
Nah,
end with
fuck
another
off.
insult. All right,
Nah,
Kyle.
he's been drinking.
Yeah, what else you got?
All right, this one's from Kobe_AL or Al.
Mhm.
Um,
It's Kobe L.
Wait, is it A
Kobe
period L? Okay.
all right, so we've heard of Forrest's near-death experiences with wildlife and nature, but what are Patrick and Peter's near-death experiences?
So in college, I was up late one night with my newish buddy. His name was Doug. I always thought he was a strange guy. And he had taken me up to his dorm room, which was a short walk. And we went up to he told me he wanted to get a bottle of whiskey or something that he had. And he turned on his computer screen while I was turning around. He pulled up basically a video of him getting a blowjob from his ex-girlfriend. And then after this, I was
This is a
like,
near-death experience.
I was weirded out by Doug. And then we went back to my house where we were having a party. So we had left this party with him. And then at night, Doug had passed out on my front porch area on a chair that was there. And I come out and I said, hey, Doug, like, you got to come in or you got to go to your place. And he goes, no, shh, shh, shh. And I was like, what? He's like, shh, shh. He's like, I made a trail of bread from there to here, and I'm trying to catch this raccoon. and he had a knife in his hand next to him, and I was like, I was drunk. I was like, this is weird, so I'll be quiet and I'll stand here. And the raccoon, sure enough, started coming in, eating the bread piece by piece.
I don't like this guy.
Didn't see us, didn't know, and then Doug got up real fast and he slammed the front porch door, and the raccoon ran to the side, and it was like going insane, and I thought I was gonna die.
Wait.
I thought it was going to say that you tried. I thought you were going to say you tried to wrestle the knife from Doug.
Yeah, that's where I thought that was going.
He was being a weirdo. He didn't actually use a knife, but the raccoon, I was like in my head, rabid raccoon, I'm fucked. This thing's gonna bite me. Like I'm gonna die.
So and then the raccoon was trapped in your screen porch, and then you guys just let it out?
Well, no. So what happened was the window to the inside of the house, which was inside the screen porch where it was now trapped, and my buddy Brian's dad was sleeping on the couch. The raccoon went in the window, shuffled up all the blinds, ran around the living room in a circle across my buddy's dad several times. And then we were like, get it out, get it out, get it out. Everybody now was up in the house, opened the front door, opened the fucking thing door, and it ran away.
Wow. If a raccoon in a screen porch was my closest I've ever come to dying, I would
The worst part of that story was me
very-
having to watch Doug get his dick sucked by his ex-girlfriend.
Well, I think
You didn't need that detail, by the way. That detail did not need to be in the
it didn't
story.
end up being important, but it's part of it being emblazoned in his brain.
All of my friends who listen to the podcast they'll know this story. And
Both of them?
I think it's fun. That's true.
So I think we've all
true.
probably been very close to death more times than we know, probably when we were driving on a highway.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah.
one that I think about often and it makes me cringe, and like you almost didn't make it past age 12,
Wow.
was 6th grade sleepover.
oh, wow.
Okay. Sleepover at this guy Neil's house. There's like 5 or 6 of us. And his dad had a kegerator in the fridge. We're like, should we go drink beer?
Of course.
Yeah.
6th grade.
So there were no, or he was scared to use cups or whatever because we would have been too dumb to just wash the dishes. So we're slurping beer out of our hands.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And so we're in there doing that for probably a half hour and everyone gets good and buzzed.
Yep.
With
Right?
hand beer.
First, like
With
really
hand beers.
first time drinking with hand beer. And so it's winter time. I grew up in Oswego, New York. So it's cold. They get like 200 inches of snow. I mean,
Yeah.
really fucking
Yeah, it's
cold,
miserable.
right?
Yeah.
So there's this big river that runs through the middle of town, separates the east and west side of Oswego. I'm going to guess it's 50 to 70 yards across.
Okay.
Strong current. You don't swim in the river. It's a big current on the river, right?
Half a
Ice
football
cold.
field size across.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Pretty wide.
Yeah.
And there was this old, like an old train bridge that goes over the river. Rickety old wood, shut down for many decades.
Mhm.
And it was like a rumor of a thing that like some cool kids in high school had done. There's like a little catwalk underneath the bridge that goes over the river with, planks of wood, and you can kind of on your hands and knees cross the river on this,
Okay.
but there's gaps, twice the size of your body
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
that you,
Have to
if
hop
you
over.
made one
It's
slip,
dangerous.
you fall into the river.
Mhm.
That's say 50 feet
Mm-hmm.
into ice cold rushing water.
Jesus.
And after drinking these beers,
hand beers.
hand beers, we decided to all go and do it.
Okay. I like that.
And did it and made it across. But I still remember just that visual of looking down at certain death, being
Yeah.
halfway across, being like, there's no way out of this.
One
You got to keep
misstep
going at that
away.
point. There was probably a kid behind you and a kid in front of you, too. And you're like, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
One
So
misstep away, dude. Just literally, you could have just one like knee into the
someone
raging
distracts you. Someone else freaks out.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eesh.
All right.
Yeah. Why do we do it?
Because when
'Cause
you're
we're
a young,
idiots.
when you're a young boy, you got to do those things.
Dude, don't act like it only happens when we're young men. We do it when we're old too.
God.
Fair enough. All right, Kyle, what's the next one?
Wait, didn't you do one? Did you do one?
No, it wasn't for me.
Oh, okay. My
The,
bad.
the broster specifically said forest stories are boring. Let's hear you guys.
All right.
All
I
right.
do like hand beer though. I
Yeah,
want to
hand
start a
beer is
brand.
nice.
Let's start a brand.
Sip from the old hand.
Hand beer.
Sure. So this one is from,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, it's from someone. Why is there poisonous things in the world? What does it offer?
Oh.
kind of a stupid but interesting question.
It's like something I would ask.
Well, I mean, why are there poisonous things? It's a deterrent so that you don't eat things.
Yeah.
It's the only reason anything's poisonous. You don't have big poisonous things, right? There's no poisonous elephants because nobody's eating, you know that. So you have a poisonous frog, and usually it's got, aposematism. So it's got bright colors or whatever telling you that it's poisonous so that you go, okay, I watched Freddy the snake over there eat that yellow frog, and now he's dead. Me over here, Jimmy the snake, isn't going to eat that yellow frog. I know yellow means poison.
Right. So is there any reason? So there are some things that are considered poisons, though, that get you like intoxicated or high.
Well, yeah, that's what mushrooms are. That's what lots of things
But so
are.
is there a benefit to that, or is that like a net negative? Like, say I want to get high on psilocybin mushrooms. Am I spreading their seed or anything?
Psilocybin and
F off.
And
What
no,
do you know?
psilocybin mushrooms.
Or is that just
no? I mean, when you pick a mushroom, you spread its spores. If you eat any plant that fruit and you eat its seeds and then you poop it out, you spread its seeds. But it's not really like poison is a derivative to tell you not to eat something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason it's there. It's a biomechanical defense against being consumed. That's all poison is. Mm-hmm. I've evolved poison so that you won't eat me, whatever kind of poison.
I got a question for you. So there are humans that we would call psychopaths, right? There are serial killers, people who kill their own kids and eat them, do horrific things, and we go, that's a psychopath. That's a dangerous lunatic.
Yep.
Do you think there's that in large carnivores?
Absolutely.
So you think there's just a grizzly bear somewhere that's a psychopath?
There was a leopard that my neighbors had that was a psychopath. It was a murderer. I have no other way to put this. So I grew up.
Let's hear that story.
Yeah, sure. For people that don't know this, I grew up in Southern Africa. Our neighbors ran a game farm called Ballyvaughan, which you can probably pull up, Kyle. And in their backyard, it was a big game farm, hundreds of acres. They had zebra and hyenas and blah, 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 blah. But at their house, they had this giant caged terrarium type thing, like enclosure. And in that enclosure, they had one of the largest leopards that had ever been caught in Africa.
Really?
This leopard had killed something like 12 people. It had been stalking this village and going in at night and killing people. And I forget who it was, but someone from Ballyvaughan went out and trapped it. And it took them a long time, took them months, and eventually, you might be able to find the leopard, Kyle. I don't know, but they had this incredible leopard enclosure. Eventually, they caught the leopard and they put it in the cage. And they didn't want to kill it because it was such a magnificent specimen. Typically, a man-eater, you kill it, right? But this was such a large one. It was one of the largest leopards ever documented in the continent of Africa. They didn't want to kill it. So they took it back to this thing and built this unbelievable enclosure. Now, the reason I tell you this was a psychopath was because this leopard did something I've never seen any other animal do, which was it would bait you in and try and kill you.
Wow.
And a perfect example of that. Yeah, it was a true story. So we'd go over there. We go to Ballyvaughan all the time. We'd play with the animals. Like they were our friends, blah, blah, blah. But this leopard, you'd walk around the cage and it doesn't matter if you were a kid. The leopard would read you. Okay. So if you were kids like my sister and I were, it would come up to the side of the cage and like kind of rub its fur along the cage and purr and roll over and do all these kitty like, oh, look at me things. And as soon as you got close, and I mean, this is how alert it was. I don't mean like me to pack close, but as soon as you started putting your hands against the cage or something, it would snap and try and grab you through the cage with its claws and try and kill you.
Jesus.
And then if you were an adult, because the adults didn't fall for it, and we saw all this firsthand, if you were an adult because adults didn't fall for this, you couldn't see the leopard. Like the first 15 times I went there, we never saw the leopard once until you walk by the cage, and then all of a sudden it would leap out of a bush and hit the side of the cage like it was trying to kill you.
That's
so
crazy,
it was constantly trying to figure out a way to manipulate a human into getting close enough for it to attack them.
Dude,
and this thing was fed all day long, like, not all day long, but you know what I mean? It was perfectly cared for, very well fed. I don't think
normally I'm like kind of against the killing the man-eaters if they've just like killed one human being. I think they should have killed this one.
It was nuts. And I don't know if it's still alive or not. I mean, this was when I was much, much younger. But yeah, that animal was a psycho.
Nah, leopards, they only live like, what, 30, 40?
Not even that long. Yeah. Much less than
That's a wild story, dude. Yeah. After 4 years of podcasting, I can't believe there's a story I haven't heard.
Do you know the Jim Corbett story? Obviously, he hunted several man-eating leopards. We've talked about him a lot.
Yep.
I was doing a deep dive on this one story. because it's a really crazy fucking story.
Yeah.
Of this man-eating leopard that killed 125 people.
The
Damn.
Rudraprayag.
Yeah, in India.
Mm-hmm.
So
Crazy.
there was basically the short version of it is something called Bombay fever, which was just what was Bombay fever?
Malaria, I think. Or
No.
dengue. Wasn't it something like that? It was one of those cerebral dengues or something like
Well,
that.
but the outcome of it was nasty, and you died, right?
Yeah,
it was like a flu, but it wasn't
Influenza.
mosquito borne. I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it was
like a flu
It was a flu
pandemic.
pandemic.
Yeah.
But so this area near Rudraprayag, I'm sure we're pronouncing it wrong, was on a pilgrimage to a Hindu holy city.
Mm.
Okay.
So there was a lot of people coming through.
Okay.
And so the disease came in and really ravaged this area because they had a lot of outsiders coming
Sure.
in, coming out.
Yep.
And so many people were dying from the Bombay fever that they were just at a certain point just started throwing bodies into the tree line.
That's right. I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so
remember
the
reading
sounds
about this.
brutal.
Yeah, so the thought is that this leopard just was eating nothing but human for a couple years.
Yeah, they were just he was
Wow.
getting fed basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And so it was like, yeah, that's good shit.
Wow. And then it just started making that its main
So
deal.
yeah, and so eventually Jim Corbett comes in. It's killed a ton of people, and he's there for a while.
Yeah.
And he's trying a lot of different things.
It's years. Didn't he spend years?
I think
hunting
he
this
was there
leopard?
for 1 to 2 years. I
Yeah.
think 2 years.
Yeah.
Trying to get this leopard. But at one point, he got they had a snare trap in a tree with a goat or whatever it was,
Mhm.
and they got the leopard.
Mhm.
And he, chaos. He has people from the village with him.
Yeah.
He goes up. The leopard's dangling like the snare is like around its leg, but it's wriggling its way out.
Yeah.
And so he rushes his shot, and instead of hitting the leopard, it literally hit the chain.
Ah.
And
and
freed it.
released
Freed it.
Oh no way.
It takes off, gets a handful more victims.
Wow.
And then he eventually gets it at some point later.
Fucking crazy, man. Like this makes me want to read like how he did it. I want to know how he got this leopard, which is knows humans are trying to kill it. It's killing humans. Like, what was his strategy? What was his method?
The way he eventually got it, it was on his 30th night of doing the same thing. He hung a live goat, up in a tree, and he was sitting in like a little tree harness that he built.
Mm.
And he sees the leopard come out of the bush finally on the 30th day or night. Or they hunt at night?
Night, for
Yeah.
sure.
30th night of sitting in this tree harness.
Yeah.
He sees it, comes
Crazy.
out, and gets a clean shot.
I don't
and
think you
pops it.
understand how rough that is. Because I've done
No,
it for
I-
like 6 nights at
Yeah.
a time. And by that like third night, you're like, I can't sit
Yeah.
up anymore in a tree stand.
What
Like,
were you doing that for?
we did it in Australia looking for
Ah,
thylacine,
that's right.
staking out the garbage patch or whatever it
Why
was.
didn't you
Yeah.
just put a meat tree up?
Well, we did. It was a dumpster, and I was just staking it out because there was something cruising around. But I did it like 6 nights in a row. And
Yeah.
by the even the third night, I was just like, your back's sore, your butt's sore, like
yeah.
everything's miserable.
It's hard to imagine for like even for me because like that's like 3 days of camping without like even a little like padded mattress.
Nothing.
Oh, and I'm
Yeah.
sure whatever he was sitting in was not as cozy as the tree stand.
They do a pretty good job on the the Yellowstone series, the 1923 version.
Mm.
Is it 19?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
The one where
the
he goes
second
to
one.
Africa, and it's like the young hot guy who lives in Santa Barbara and is friends with my buddy Garrick, by the way. But the young hot guy who's like the main star of 1923.
Uh-huh.
There's three. There's Yellowstone. There's 1923, and there's one other one.
1887.
Yeah, it's 1923. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, he basically plays like a Jim Corbett character.
Mm.
He's like an
Oh, okay.
American who goes out hunting these man-eaters in Kenya and Africa. And I'm almost certain that they like read some of the Jim Corbett books and
For
just
sure.
based it all on that. Because it's
For
like
sure.
the exact methodologies, the guys getting pulled out of the tents. It's all like exactly like Jim Corbett stories.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating story though, I will say.
Kyle, you got another Brosner cue?
I wasn't prepared, but yes, I do.
He just had a panic attack when you
Yeah.
said that. 'cause
He
he
got
was
so
taking
sweaty
photos.
immediately.
He was, he was spurting sweat out like Homer Simpson.
He's so vile.
Gustavo Rivera just wants to know, why is Peter the way he is?
Ooh.
I think that's for you guys to answer.
Should we take that? Yeah.
I
You've
mean,
known me.
a product of nature and nurture, I would think.
Yeah, just a
That's
rough.
such a lame fucking answer. Come
Well,
on.
let's be honest.
Dig a little
He's
deeper.
lived a hard 42 years
Yeah.
or whatever. What was it you
Close.
said that one time?
I don't know, a hard 40 years, 35, 38, 36, I don't know.
Yeah, most likely, you know, he was raised in a household where his brother beat the shit out of him.
That's true.
I think his anger problem is 100% genetic.
Okay. All right.
What about his alcoholism?
How about first? What we do first is, what do you think that Hustravo Gravo means by the way that I am? What
I think he's
you
just
think
trying
that's
to be
a
a
negative?
prick. I think he's just trying to be a prick.
I think he's trying to be
negative?
funny. I think
it's funny.
I think Peter's his favorite person on the podcast.
Yeah, that's probably true. You are the majority of people's favorite person.
Well, that's not true, but thank you guys. I appreciate that. Let's wrap it up. Fuck you, Gustavo. I love you. Don't forget that we have a bunch of bonus pods on Apple subscriptions. That's our new thing. We got it on Spotify. We got it on Patreon. Sign up to any of them. Be signed up, and you can win an Animal Con giveaway where we're going to be there. You know, I've seen Forrest do some pretty crazy stunts. He got the whole water slide shut down for everybody.
I did.
And then the photo contest, which you mentioned at the beginning, do it. Get your photo submitted, and we will put it up here if it's the winner. And go to wildtimes.com/info. Wildtimes.com/info.
Is it wildtimes.com?
Wildtimes.club/info. Wildtimes.club/info. Kyle, shut your mouth.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Jim Corbett. I'd suck his butt dry.
I wanted to
would
name
too.
my second son Corbett. Remember I texted
Yeah,
you?
I really like that's a cool sounding
Not a bad
name.
I know, it's a rad name.
No problems here.
Ah, shut up.